Well, are you ready for this video? I don't think anyone is ready, but here goes anyway. I've been trying to make this video for a while, and it's a tough one. First off, we have to make some assumptions to get us rolling. We'll build on these as we go. Number one, let's suppose you were the king of the world, king of the entire world. You rule over some 8 billion people and are a very kind and gracious king. You try to never infringe on anyone's rights and strive to be fair and just in all your dealings. Your people are your very reason for being in this great office. You are not striving to make you or your buddies rich by way of your election to world king. You just want a better world for your voters. No wars, no fighting, no arms race, no hunger, no sickness, and no poverty. Everyone has the opportunity for a great life. We have limitless free electricity and huge water purification plants to purify the water, not only for drinking, but also to pump back into the rivers, the lakes, the streams for the fish and the other creatures. Vehicles are cheap and no longer use fossil fuels, but a smaller version of our limitless electric generators, not battery banks. The need for money is nearly gone. Sounds pretty good, huh? Okay. Number two, then we start seeing and feeling stronger earthquakes and seaquakes. Volcanic activity increases and some of the big calderas begin to rumble. You know, like maybe Yellowstone. The seaquakes cause tsunamis, which become more frequent and are stronger. The oxygen percentage of the air begins to decrease while the carbon dioxide content goes up. Weather patterns get all screwed up and it snows on the equator while Canada stays warm all winter. The polar ice caps begin to melt, which raises the sea level and begins flooding coastal towns and cities. Ocean water temperatures rise, which lead to the extinction of thousands of species. Hurricanes, tornadoes, and typhoons become more frequent, which take a very heavy toll on life. You know, you get the picture, okay? Number three, then you start seeing climate activists talk about global warming, and people start yelling about the clear cutting of thousands and thousands of acres of rainforest for housing and to, for farms to feed us and raise cattle, whatever. The fishermen come back to port with many less fish than ever before. Farmers have to use more and more pesticides to grow enough crops to feed us. This list goes on and on. Basically, your world is going to crap, Mr. World King. Okay, number four. So, how do you tackle so many problems at once and to such a huge degree? How do you fix all these environmental problems to keep your world running smoothly? Number five. Now comes the cold slap in the face. In the 1960s, a man in Switzerland starts getting visits from an extraterrestrial race of human beings. They tell him they have been watching and caring for us, Earth brothers and sisters, for a very long time, like thousands of years. They are sworn not to interfere in our development and ensure we have the right to make our own destiny, choose our own path, free will without any external influences. They watched silently through pollution, murder, racism, military conflicts, wars, and even world wars, etc., etc., etc. Then we split the atom and we started creating bombs and power stations, nuclear. Not only do we test these horrible bombs on Bikini Atoll, for example, the Nevada desert, and other deserted places like under the ground or up in midair, but we also use them on millions of your subjects to end a world war. We continually improve their destructive power and call it an arms race. The one with the biggest bomb wins, we say. Now, this is where the problem begins. The weapons we make now no longer affect only the Earth. They have a devastating effect on space and time. Not only are we killing ourselves, but causing harm to our brothers and sisters in this universe as well. Basically, there's humans on millions of other planets, not just Earth. We're nothing special. Time for the Pleiadian people to make themselves known. But who do they contact? Try to pick a government that is not power-hungry, greedy, and actually cares about the masses. Pick a government that still listens to the people. It doesn't exist on this planet. So they choose a highly evolved man called Billy Meyer in Switzerland. And then they task him with passing on the words of others in space to the Earth people. Screwing up the Earth is your problem, but when the ludicrous spills out into space, now it's ours as well. We will not tolerate Earthman's stupidity out here in space. Time to clean up your act, or we will do it for you. I'm plagiarizing, or I'm paraphrasing. Not their exact words, but you get the picture. Fix it, or we'll fix it. Okay, number 7. Now comes the kicker. One of the first things they say to Billy is the Earth is drastically overpopulated. The old saying, go forth and multiply, has gotten us into terminal problems. They tell Billy that the Earth is capable of supporting about 500 million people. That's million with an M. Our latest census numbers just passed the 8 billion mark. Do the math. 16 times the max number that the Earth can support. Earth's land surface area is approximately 58 million square miles, or 149 million square kilometers. 8 billion people divided by 58 million square miles, this is the land surface, not the entire surface, 58 million square miles, comes out to 138 humans per square mile, every square mile, or 53 humans per square kilometer, according to Google. You can check, it takes 5 minutes. This means we have 16 times as many people as this little blue marble can support. They tell us that the overpopulation problem is the root of all of our global issues: global warming, pollution, ice caps melting, rainforests, deforestation, wars, carbon dioxide, the ozone, etc., etc., etc. They also mention that the Earth is alive and we are killing her. The violent actions we see are her attempts to fight back, and they will get much, much worse if we don't fix the overpopulation problem. They mentioned that there used to be a planet, this is just a side note, they mentioned there used to be a planet where the asteroid belt is today, and the inhabitants blew the planet up. Okay, where do you think the asteroids came from? Besides a physical planet, they say the Earth is surrounded by our afterlife. Call it heaven if you like. And the spirits of the people who used to live here. They tell us that these spirits get reincarnated only on this planet, but the numbers are greatly strained by the overpopulation of the planet. The spirits don't get the required amount of time in the afterlife. They say spirits need about 1.5 times their physical life in the afterlife before they're reincarnated. And so now there's so many people, they're getting reincarnated before they're ready. Okay? If the Earth is destroyed or trashed to the point that it cannot sustain life anymore, where do these spirits go to reincarnate? If your spirit can't reincarnate, your evolution ends. Let me say that again. If your spirit can't reincarnate, your evolution ends. Spirits are attached to this earth, and the spirit needs a physical life to move forward or backward in its evolution. No physical lives, no evolution. It's that simple. Okay, number 8. If you don't like the reincarnation theory, think about this. Your heaven, quote unquote, is a piece attached to the earth. Earth goes away, so does your heaven. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in, or if you believe in extraterrestrials or not. What really matters is the earth is in grave danger, and so are her inhabitants, your people. What really matters is the math. If you drive across the US, Russia, China, most other countries, you'll see miles and miles of empty deserts, prairies, mountains, etc., and you can convince yourself that there's still lots of room for more people. Now take a drive through New York City, Beijing, Moscow, Manila, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., London, Munich, India, Cebu, etc., 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 and see the millions and millions of people piled on top of each other. Then think about the food, water, and air to sustain these city dwellers. Where does it come from? We are told that our cities are getting so heavy, weight-wise, that we're actually moving the tectonic plates ourselves. Yes, there are open spaces left, but those are needed to feed the billions. Food, water, and air are running out fast, yet we look the other way. This root problem needs to be fixed immediately, and all the other ones should go away by themselves. Now, back to you being the world king. Forget about extraterrestrials, spirits, Billy Meyer, and all the religions that you know for now. Look purely at the math. Look it up on Google. It takes 5 minutes. How do you fix this? How do you, being the king of the world, fix our dying little raft floating in space, our life raft in space? I believe that most world governments have read and investigated and believe Billy Meyer's contact reports. You should also, in my humble opinion. And let's take a look at their solutions to get rid of 7.5 billion people. This is the solutions that the governments come up with. It's just, my opinion, obviously. But okay, number 1, world wars. Oh, this is great for reducing the population as long as we keep it conventional weapons, vice, Earth, space-time destroying nukes. Kill off all the young studs and the young ladies, and who's left to continue the species? Only the rich and powerful that don't have to fight in these wars. Think of the pain and suffering and heartbreak caused by this technique. Drive around Tennessee or most other states sometime and look at almost every other car has a disabled veteran license plate. These are your people, World King. You're killing us, okay? Number 2, how about illegal drugs? We could create all kinds of recreational drugs that have a good mortality rate and make them readily available. Might help. We could probably get rich in the process. Let the people kill themselves. That's a thought. Okay, number 3. The third choice is legal drugs. You know, the ones that cure dry skin and postnasal drip, but have hundreds of side effects like brain cancer and tumors and birth defects, etc., etc., etc. The doctors prescribe them like candy in a candy store. They don't mention they're killing you, or maybe that wasn't mentioned in the medical text that they were trained with. I don't know. I don't want to get too bad on the doctors, but maybe it's the pharmaceutical companies that are the problem. They want to sell you drugs that fix the side effects from the last drug they sold you, and then you need another one to fix the side effects of this drug. So the next thing you know, you end up with a whole bowl full of pills you got to take every morning. Anyway, number 4. Okay, not enough dead people yet. How about infectious diseases? We could create them in a laboratory and let them leak out silently. You know, like syphilis, bubonic plague, COVID, flus, pox, just to name a very few. Oh yeah, and if the disease was not fatal enough, we could even create a vaccine to finish the job and force everybody to take it. You know, it's just pure speculation here. Okay. Number 5. How about poisoning the food supply? Remember, we're trying to get rid of 7.5 billion people. How about poisoning the food supply? That might work. Or the water supply. How the hell are we going to kill off 7.5 billion people and do it quickly before the earth trashes itself. Okay? Maybe, number 7, maybe we have the ability / technology to enlist the help of Mother Nature herself. Let's cause an earthquake or a volcano or a tsunami. We could probably drill a big hole in the ground and create an earthquake. You know, we're probably almost to that point in technology. Number 8, how about we build rockets and beam ships, and the rich and the powerful can leave the earth and take our problem to another world. What if that other world is already inhabited? Do we cleanse the new world prior to creating our new utopia? I have a strong feeling that the space community of humans, and other creatures I guess as well, would not let this happen because we would be interfering with the original inhabitants' free will. Also, the Earth would still be in trouble because rockets could only carry so many people. Number 9. Okay, this is a big one. Okay, how about we crop dust people by the millions from airplanes? Chemtrails, you know? Maybe a bird flu, destroy all the chickens. That means no more eggs. That means no more chickens. We could go on and on with conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, but let's look at something a bit more successful. Okay, the Chinese government adopted a one-child policy, and it cut way back on population figures. Whether it was because of Billy Meyer and the ETs and the letter he sent to them, who knows? But they tried it for a while. Eventually it was scrapped. I don't know the reasons, but I'm sure there was reasons. Okay, here's a last resort to decrease the population. We could do absolutely nothing and let the Apophis asteroid, the Pleiadian and Billy call this the red meteor, that is headed straight for Earth impact in 2029 and wipe out half or 3/4 of the population. What? You haven't heard of Apophis? The Pleiadians say a big nuke detonation a short distance away from the red meteor would easily alter its trajectory to miss us. By the way, they were talking about Apophis in the 1980s. Our astronomers just discovered it like 10 years ago. Huh? It's coming. 2029, supposed to hit us somewhere in Europe. Anyway, so how would the world king, you, the world king, reduce the population by billions and still be fair, just, and not in it for the money? What would love dictate? How would you do this out of the love for your people in the most painless and transparent method? How do you spare the millions of broken hearts and suffering caused by wars, disease, etc., natural disasters, etc., etc.? The Pleiadian people have recommended a full birth stop for several years. Not having a baby has got to be a lot less painful than losing a child or a teenager that you are already in love with all your heart and soul to a man-made disease or a war or poisons, etc. But how to do a birth stop? Fairly, lovingly, and effectively causing the least amount of pain. And how about the pain inflicted on Mother Earth by our breeding by the millions unchecked? A little side note, most other species have predators that keep their numbers in check, but not us. We even have wildlife management programs. Like we're so qualified to manage the wildlife. They've been doing it themselves for millions of years. They don't need us. And all of us grabbing for resources to sustain ourselves. Resources that the earth is rapidly running out of. Okay, well, I have no frelling idea. But how about if I start a dialogue on the subject and we get lots and lots of people to comment with their own ideas or changes to my thoughts? How about, like Donald J. Trump has said hundreds of times, let's let the people decide. Whether you like him or you hate him, and there doesn't seem to be any people in between, I like the thought of the voters, the everyday working stiffs, being able to alter the fate of our world and possibly save it for many future generations to come, because the alternative will be catastrophic. Okay, you with me so far? So, I will start this off by mentioning that Elon Musk has a global internet system, Starlink, in place and operating across the planet. Okay, there's internet everywhere now. What if we put an unhackable, yeah, I know that's a rough term, but what if we put an unhackable computer terminal in every hospital on the planet, anywhere humans are born? AI could run the system for us to be unbiased. Every pregnant woman gets a number in a lottery system on this database. Now here's where this gets tricky, and we really could use some Play-Aaron advanced medical technology. Nudge, nudge, Samyazi, you listening? We could use some of your technology. Let's pick a number according to the math required. I'm not a mathematician, I'm not sure. And say 99 out of 100 baby boys get painlessly and non-invasively vasectomies. All right? Leave only 1 in 100 with the ability to produce sperm. They get a vasectomy at birth. Now, I have had a vasectomy myself, and I know it does not interfere with any bodily functions except sperm delivery. Okay? You're still even creating sperm, just no delivery system. I guess depending on the way you do it. Hell, we circumcise them now. Why not a vasectomy at the same time? The baby's twig and berries function normally in all respects except sperm delivery. I will put out a number here at random. Let's say 1 in 100 or 1,000 does not get neutered. Well, hell, we do it for dogs and cats to be humane. How about people? All other baby boys get a high-tech vasectomy at birth. Obviously, this one fertile baby boy will grow up to be very popular with the ladies. But if managed correctly, it might work. This number could be altered as the population comes down to the max of 500 million. Now, you're thinking to yourself, or maybe you're even saying it out loud, what a cruel bastard this guy is. What the hell has he been smoking? But think about all the future generations that get to live and thrive because of these changes to how we do business. Is it more humane to have children and to lose them to natural disasters or wars or famine or worse, or to never have had the children in the first place? If you haven't had a child, you can't miss him or her as bad as losing them as, say, a teenager going to war, or somebody that got killed in a mudslide, or a tsunami wiped out your entire family. Get a puppy, maybe. Better than nothing. We'd have to be extremely transparent in all facets of this. But here's a thought. Maybe not disclose which boys are which. When he becomes an adult, it could be a trial and error thing to kind of spice things up a bit. What do you think? I don't know about you, but I would like to leave the world a better place for my great-grandchildren. Please, please, please comment and pass this around. Try to keep it civilized and helpful. Bitching me out isn't gonna help anything. Everybody else, not everybody, but many people are aware we have a population problem, but nobody's talking about how do we fix it. Well, I'm starting that right now. You guys, help me out. Anybody that reads this, help me out. You could subscribe too if you feel like it. Anyway, if you haven't heard about Billy Meyer and his extraterrestrial friends, do some research. His info is all over the internet, and it's been recently translated to English, so you can read it. It's actually translated into several languages. Billy's native language is German, so they speak in German, but they've been translated. You can read them for free on the internet. Proven over and over again contact with ETs. Even the U.S. government went over there, and they proved. Lieutenant Colonel Wendell Stevens investigated for the U.S. government. He come back, turned in his report, and then he wrote 2 books about them. That's kind of like yeah, they're real. You can read Billy's translated contact reports as well. You might learn something. They're on the internet. Okay, comment, please. Nicely.